In this video, we're going to be talking about priorities. In Align, we've got a couple different ways of measuring your company's success. Easiest way to differentiate them is to speak about just a simple sports analogy. So when you turn on the TV to watch a sports game, what's the first thing that you look at? The score of the game. You look at the scoreboard. That's going to indicate to you who's winning and who's losing, just what's going on in the game. In this example, critical numbers are your scoreboard. So the revenue, sales numbers, how many employees you have, really good, simple indicators of your company's success today. Are you winning or are you losing? Now let's take that a step deeper. How are you going to win your game? Who is going to be involved? What strategic plays are being made in order to differentiate you from your competitor? In this case, that's what we call priorities. Priorities are located 4 steps down in the left navigation. We call them priorities because you're prioritizing them. You're focusing on them in a given quarter. The Align software is truly optimized to track priorities in a quarter, although you can click up here and edit it to any time frame that you want. In this case, let's just talk about it as a quarter. In our example account here, we've got a few different priorities set up, but we're going to go ahead and create our own. So let's go up and click on Add Priority. And here you can see there's plenty of different options for you to fill out to get to the level of detail that you need. However, if you just wanted to create one quick priority on the fly, all you would need to do is just type in the priority name, select the priority owner. You can either leave your name in there. Here's my name. I can X that out and I can select someone else as well. Once those two things are filled out, I can actually go ahead and click on Save. And I've got my priority down here. Of course, this priority doesn't actually say anything, and we'd want to at least put in the way that we're going to measure its success. So let's head back in here, and that's how you edit a priority. You click on the 3 dots and just click on Edit. In our priority name, we're going to detail what a particular individual or team is doing in order to make an impact in the company this quarter. Seeing as we've already got plenty of better examples here, I'm not going to build out a true, really great priority, but we always like the priority name to be as specific as possible. So now let's talk about a few other items on this list. First up, parent priority. We use the language parent and child priority in order to connect the dots between 2 different priorities. So let's say that this one was also connected to closing 300 new opportunities. So this is one of the ways that we're going to close 300 new opportunities this quarter. All I would need to do is search for a quick keyword connected to that, and now I've got that inputted. This one would now show up below, kind of branching off of close 300 new opportunities. I'm going to X that one out just because I want this example to be the parent priority. And so we'll use that functionality again in just a moment here. Annual initiatives are going to be that larger why. What is this really connected to? Why are we doing all of this? So in the kind of silly example of building a rocket ship this quarter, maybe the larger annual initiative is by the end of the year, we're trying to get to the moon, or we will get to the moon. In that annual initiative section, we can see any of the annual initiatives that already exist and just connect the dots. The description is a great place to brainstorm. I always like to answer 3 questions. Again, that why is a great place to remind people, why is this important to the company right now? How, so some key players, what's going on, who's involved. And then last, success. So again, in that kind of silly example of building a rocket ship, it's not just that we need to build a rocket ship, maybe we also need to build a safe rocket ship. Let's keep moving down. Next up, tags. Tags are a great way to filter in different ways than the priorities were already set up, so we can combine different examples. You can tag multiple items all at the same time. Here's some examples of stuff that already exists. I can also type anything in here and create it on the fly. For instance, this marketing tag, let's say that we needed marketing's help on this priority and it's going to take some time. Well, marketing's also involved in this sales priority. Marketing might be involved in a few things. This gives them the opportunity to just search for the tag marketing and see everything that they're involved with at the same time. Next up, we've got company priority and visibility. They do go hand in hand because if you do decide that this is a company priority, one of the most absolute important thing that you guys are working on right now, then it's going to lock that visibility because everyone needs to see what the most important things are. If it's just a regular priority, then you can switch it so only selected users or selected teams can view it at one time. That little pop-up that just came up is just telling us that, hey, everyone can see this annual initiative, so we got to make sure that everyone can see this priority. Next up, we've got priority type. If you learn anything in this video, it's going to be how are we measuring this? What's the priority type? KPI driven is just giving you that opportunity that even though this is not the score of the game, there might be a strategic play that gets measured with a number. So we're going to use our fastest player and we want to measure how fast, a particular play gets done. We can actually enter a number to track the success. In terms of a business, let's say we need to sell 30 items. Bit of the way through the quarter, we've already sold 15. We'd be 50% of the way to goal. So just a simple math equation. Next up, a roll-up. Let's say a full team is working together to get all sorts of different items done. There's a lot of different moving components that are all happening at the same time. That's when a roll-up comes into play. A roll-up takes the average percent completion of all of its child priorities. So any priority attached to it underneath it. We're going to build out a roll-up just so you can kind of see the difference and how that affects everything. Next up, task-driven. Task-driven is a smaller linear goal where I might need to do one thing this week, another thing next week, just have some milestones, deadlines, due dates that I build out as tasks down here. Last little component, select priority status. It's always going to be calculated by default. If for any reason you notice that the color's not matching up to the success that you think that you're going to hit, you can always change it. And it's very clear once someone has changed it, just because it just shows up as a different color. It's just very clear when someone has selected user driven. And in that case, if they ever, have a sales goal that the system is showing you're way ahead of schedule, you're doing great, but that's because you just had one really large deal at the beginning of the quarter and your pipeline is looking very thin. There's just not much going on towards the end of the quarter. You might want to change that to maybe yellow or red because you think that you're pretty concerned that you might not get it done by the end of the quarter. I'm going to go ahead and leave this as calculated. I'm going to select Rollup, and then I'm going to build out one example of each. So if I click on Save, then it's just going to save this one and put it aside. If I actually click on Save and Add Child, what that's going to do is it's going to save this one and just automatically pop out a new one with my parent priority already filled out with that name of the last one. So this one's going to be an example KPI priority. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to make sure that KPI is still selected. Let's say I want to reach $100 by the end of the quarter, and I'm already at 75. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And here we go. We've got a KPI at 75% complete, and that roll-up is at 75% complete as well, because it doesn't have anything else that it's taking from just yet. Another quick add button is I can click on the three dots here and click on Add Child Priority, which again, that's just going to pop out a new priority with that parent priority already filled out. And here I'm going to create an example task-driven priority. I'm going to click on task-driven and I'm going to add in a couple tasks for our sake here. We're going to click on Save, just do one more example task. And I'm going to change the due date on this one. Let's say to next week. In this section, let's say someone else does own that one. I can actually assign that out. Wonderful. Let's say one of the tasks is done. Other one's not done just yet. It's not even due till next week, so that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and click on save. And what's the percent of this one going to be? It's going to be 1 out of 2 total tasks, so it's going to be 50% complete. And here we go. We've got 75% complete on the KPI, 50% complete on the task, and that's why our roll-up is at 62% complete. All right, so here's our example of just building out a quick goal. If you need to go back and edit and update your goals over time, of course you can click the 3 dots and click on edit. Another just quick, easy way to update your own KPI priorities is you can click up at the top here and click on Update KPI Priorities. It's just going to come up with a list of any of your numbers right here. So let's say we're actually at 76. And now we're going to go back to my dashboard. On the dashboard, what I want to show you is that you can actually update your priorities right from here as well. So here's a long list of all my priorities. I can go ahead and update it from here. That's going to fill out the full page, or there's that quick update KPI priority button right from here, and I can update any of my priorities, my KPI priorities from here. Of course, any of my task-driven priorities, I would just need to check off my tasks, and that's going to move along my task-driven priorities as I go along. All right, so that's creating and updating priorities. Just so that we make this clear, we also do have a few different integrations. So although we recommend just getting used to some manual updates at first, for your KPI-driven priorities and for your critical numbers, you can connect those numbers so that they update automatically through our Salesforce and Zapier integrations. To learn a little bit more about that, you can always visit our Align Academy, or you can reach out to us directly through the Contact Us button, which is going to be in your bottom left-hand side of your screen. Thank you so much for watching today. If you have absolutely any questions, just let us know.